From Mamma Mia, welcome to The Spill, your daily pop culture fix. I'm Laura Brodnick, and today I'm joined by
Tina Burke, Mamma Mia's pop culture and social editor.
I hope people watch our YouTube channel, The Spill on YouTube, if you're not following, to see the beautiful flourish with my hands I just gave you to introduce you. It's wasted on audio.
It was so jazzy. I'm
I
sorry
feel
they
like
can't
I'm
see
a
it.
ringmaster in an old-timey circus. Like I should have a top hat and a red vest.
Yes, you are giving Britney Spears a la circus today.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Deep cut.
Okay, love that. That's exactly how I'd love to dress, as a side note. Coming up on the show today, lots of important chat. Blake Lively has posted an Instagram carousel that was meant to be lovely and nostalgic, but has completely blown up, and we're going to talk about the fallout from that because it is intense on very many levels. But first, a new rom-com coming to Netflix that has not been officially announced. Is that correct?
Not officially announced, but leading film Twitter and some industry publications. Like
and can I just
Rant.
say, no one has said it's not true. I haven't seen Netflix at the time of recording saying this is a bald-faced, filthy lie. I haven't seen the people involved saying shut your mouths with these untruths. So I'm going to take that in the true spirit of journalism as a confirmation.
I'm taking it as truth because film updates and Screen Rant, they're 99% of the time correct. And I'm okay with that.
They just go, I think they
rate.
just, a lot of the time, sometimes people post like in like Australian film and TV, like media or like overseas media, post something as like, oh, an exclusive, I knew this first. And I was like, we all knew it. It just hadn't been officially confirmed, so we didn't say it. But I do appreciate the Mavericks who just go out there
just
first.
go out there and go, this is fact.
Yeah.
Welcome. Okay, so I'm here to talk about the most exciting romantic comedy of the week. And of the week because we're getting so many announcements of the moment, which we can talk about in a second. So the latest announcement is a Netflix rom-com based on a best-selling novel, and it is starring two people that Laura Brodnick will be very thrilled to hear about. So it stars Leighton Meester.
Oh, love.
And Jared Padalecki.
Oh my God, my boy. I just want him to be so successful.
He is. I think he's like a multi-millionaire.
I know. I've seen the Austin Mansion. Okay, I get it.
Oh, you go deep. Okay. So for any spillers who don't know Laura's crazy crush, Jared Padalecki of Gilmore Girls fame, but then later also Supernatural fame.
Yeah, and I mean, I think like a lot of people love him mostly on Gilmore Girls, and I think we can all say Dean in the first season, great,
lovely,
slightly problematic as we go along, but that is okay because that is what teenage boys are like. But he was on Supernatural for over a decade. And I have watched every episode, I'm going to say at least 15 times. So I do also know him as Sam Winchester.
That's too scary for me. That's none of my business.
Yeah,
but
you did ask me when we were sort of talking about this yesterday if you could watch Supernatural. And it's a question I also, because like we talk about Supernatural on this pod, I get to, which is, I'm going to be honest, is why I wanted to do this segment today, because I haven't been able to work in a Supernatural reference for a couple of months.
At last.
And whenever I do, I get heaps of people on my Instagram popping into my DMs saying like, should I watch Supernatural? And it's good. And it's not that scary. It's not scary at all, I would say.
I would argue that it looks very scary.
But you can't deal with even the tiniest little bit of slight gore or slight ghosties or slight anything like that.
I'm okay with spook. I don't want to be terrified that something's going to grab me. You yesterday said, just so you know, Spillers, this is what she said to me. She goes, no, it's not that scary. Although in season 1, there is that thing that pulls the women under the water.
It's a little ghost of a little boy that pulls people under the water and drowns them. Great episode.
Little ghost, little boy pulls underwater. What about any of that is okay? What the hell? So anyway, he's back in rom-com land. He's not scaring us anymore. It's fine. So he's starring in a rom-com opposite Leighton Meester of obviously Gossip Girl fame. And we love a Gossip Girl, Gilmore Girls collab moment. We've had several in the past, which we can also talk about later.
Yes.
But the movie is called The Bodyguard. No relation to the Kevin Costner classic.
That's actually quite sad.
No, nothing. Although same vibes. So basically The Bodyguard is a bit of a gender swap version of the original Bodyguard, but not actually affiliated. So it is a novel written by a woman called Catherine Center, and I have actually read it. I did enjoy it.
Oh, you've read the book?
It's not my top favorite of book
because you've read every single rom-com in existence.
But it's a bit of fun.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much this is a fake thing, executive protection agent Hannah, and she takes a job protecting a famous actor named Jack Stapleton. That's a good fake actor name, I think.
That's a great fake actor name.
Can you imagine Jack Stapleton in Bond coming soon?
Yeah.
But also in The Bodyguard coming soon too. And he becomes like the target of a stalker. So he hires a new bodyguard. She's a woman. Oh my God, can she throw a punch? We'll see.
I actually believe that Leighton Meester could beat the crap out of someone.
I think she could.
I actually think I would maybe go her for protection over Jared Padalecki, that sweet, so tall man who he kind of moves around the world like, you know, like a newborn horse.
He does have baby deer energy.
Yeah, or like a baby giraffe, how it kind of falters on its own legs.
He's too tall for his own good. That's the problem. He's got too many limbs, too much hair, and too many cheekbones. So he hires her to be his bodyguard, and then to hide this fact from his family, because you wouldn't want to stress out your family, they do the classic rom-com trope of a fake relationship.
So important.
So important. And they're living and spending time together at his Texas ranch, and they tell his whole family that she's just his girlfriend.
But she's really his
bodyguard. So there's an element of stalking and like stress and high stakes, but obviously it's a rom-com, so you're like, whatever, nothing bad's going to happen. But then there's also the element of fake dating and like family chaos, but it's on a ranch. So we've got Texan vibes. It's all working. And now we have a beautiful cast as well.
And look, if they're not doing it, Netflix is crazy not to do this, because this was send their algorithm and their downloads that week just soaring into the heavens, because this is everything that people want at the moment. Is they want nostalgic stars from their favorite TV shows from the early 2000s to team up. I'm not going to say nobody wants this wouldn't have been successful without Adam Brody and Kristen Bell, but also I don't think it would have been. The team up of them was what brought so many people in. And I think this is going to draw on the same audience, is that you've got Supernatural, Gilmore Girls, and then the Gossip Girl fandoms. Two fandoms, the Gossip Girl fandom and the Supernatural fandom. Supernatural in particular, they still hold so many conventions that the stars go to, and people are so invested in that world. You bring those two fandoms together, that is an unstoppable franchise.
I've never even seen Supernatural, and I'm half in the fandom.
Yeah, and you know all the stuff.
I know so much about it. I watch the edits. I watch the stuff about the conventions. I know the boys and their dynamic. It's a really big fandom. And so I do think that this is just cinematic gold.
Yeah, and I think also like Leighton Meester is kind of, not that she ever went away, but I guess she has said herself that she took a bit of time away to like have her two children and sort of, and she'd been working consistently since she was about 14 years old. So I understand when you get to your 30s, you're like, I need a break. I've already been working for 15 years. Yeah. Give me long service leave already. But I love how she's come back with so many projects, not just her, like she's got that TV show on Stan where she plays a police officer.
Yes, that was her training ground.
Yeah. So I think she can play a bodyguard coming from that. She's obviously in the new season, Nobody Wants This. She has other projects going on. Yeah. This would be great for her. Jared's had a good runs in Supernatural. He was on the Texas Walker reboot, which I can never really get into, but it was there. But I also feel like he just needs that next big, because Jensen went on to do The Boys.
Yes.
And then Jensen, it hurts my heart to talk about this, because this is when do you remember when the Supernatural boys had a really big falling out publicly?
No. What happened?
Oh, it really hurts to talk about. It's hard when your family fights, you know?
It's very difficult.
So Jensen Ackles and his wife, Danielle Harris from One Tree Hill.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, I know there's more. There's always something.
I just love it. I love it. I love Adam and
Leighton. No, I know who she is. Yes. Sorry, spoilers. I know that doesn't matter.
Rachel.
To you, I know.
Again, I just love that all the stars of our favorite early 2000 shows
all found each other.
All kind of came together, and they're all married and paired off now, which I love. So yes, Jensen Ackles married to Danielle Ackles, who was on One Tree Hill. So they worked on a reboot, a prequel series of Supernatural. Yeah. And it was announced. And Jensen says that he didn't know it was going to be announced at that time. It kind of leaked, and so their hand was forced. And so Jared Padalecki saw the news for the first time that the show that he and Jensen had like worked together on and become brothers, real life brothers.
Are real life brothers.
They are real life brothers.
Yeah.
He was rebooting it without him is what he saw. So then Jensen got on Twitter.
That's crazy.
So then Jared got on Twitter and was like getting angry at Jensen publicly and saying he was left out. He knew nothing about it. He was upset. And then apparently they didn't talk for a while, but then they did get on the phone and Jensen talked about it later. Yeah, they did work it out.
They worked it out on the remix.
Yeah. They worked on the phone, but I kind of wish I'd done it in person so they could have had one of their
done
Sam
a
and Dean hugs. No. I don't need to see it. That's their private reconciliation. But yeah, basically they had mended fences behind the scenes about it. And then the show got cancelled anyway.
That's huge tea. And also so sibling coded. to have such a huge fallout and be like, you know what, misunderstanding, that's fine. Because you wouldn't often professionally, as really close friends, come back from something that's that big of a deal. That speaks to the brotherhood of Supernatural.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's for nearly a week there, the whole fandom was just like, we were just all
this was over a week? I thought you meant this was months long.
No, I think a week or so till like they both started posting like normal again. And then later they talked about how they had like fixed it up behind the scenes, that Jensen had called him and said, hey man, like this is so early. It's really early talks. We obviously would have brought you in, but we're just like thinking about it.
Yeah.
And these things take so long. And then Jared was like, yeah, man, I get it. I'm assuming.
Love you, bro.
He's like, I get it. I'm sorry that I was like so hot-headed. I was just like, I saw it. I was in the middle of filming. I jumped on Twitter. I should have called you. And then they mended fences. So
oh my God,
fine.
that's so sweet. I love that.
The thing I'd mostly love about this new Netflix movie is if like Jensen Ackles played the brother or something.
But I think he would.
Yeah, I think he would too.
They reek of that energy. Like you just know that they do a little like a background appearance or something. And I think you kind of touched on something with this whole One Tree Hill Supernatural marriage, which is that as much as it's about the different nostalgic shows, it is also about the fact that all of these people kind of married or dated other people from things. Like a lot of Adam Brody's like Riz and backstory and attraction comes from the fact that he is married to Blair Waldorf in real life, that he's married to Leighton Meester. They're both really talented. They're both really great, but fans also have that added love for that weird nostalgia. And so Leighton's going to be in Nobody Wants This, and that's just like a bit of a side role. She was in The Buccaneers in a really small role. Obviously, we really loved Good Cop, Bad Cop, but this would be like her real return to like a leading rom-com role. And I think Jared needs it too. But it's just like 50,000 elements of nostalgia all boiled into one. And then it's got the like secret ingredient of the moment, which is it has to be a book talk adaptation.
Exactly. Book talk is really the only thing with the power to like make these big adaptations kind of popular or not, and what studios are looking for. It's interesting. It's like it's very clear what audiences want at the moment is that we want hints of nostalgia from our favorite stars to come back in different roles, and we love it coming from that book talk area because that is such an influential space at the moment.
And it's just guaranteed fan base.
Exactly.
Like I would love to see more original scripts, but I don't think we'll get them at the moment.
At least if they come from a book, it's sort of like not a complete original reboot ideas, or something.
Yeah.
But also, we just want rom-coms. And I know that you and I talk about this all day at our desk when we should be working, is that all people want to watch at the moment is rom-coms, and nowhere is making good quality rom-coms.
No.
They keep marketing movies as rom-coms, like Materialists and even maybe like Splitsville and all these other shows.
And Big Bold Beautiful Journey.
Big Bold Beautiful Journey, exactly. They're like, it's a rom-com. It's like absolutely not a rom-com.
Yeah.
But it's almost like they have to trick audiences into cinemas by telling them it's one thing, and once they get in there being like, it's actually a drama about this and this, which is fine. But if you think people only want to see rom-coms, make a rom-com.
And also don't trick people into spending $35 at the cinema and then being disappointed. That's why they hate your movie. That's why they're reviewing it so badly, because they thought that they were getting something else.
I think that's why so many people didn't like Materialists because so many people, I guess I just listened to the spill in time, is they went in thinking it was going to be a rom-com, and when it wasn't, it's just like you can't even focus on the movie you're watching because you're so jarred by what you feel like you've walked into the wrong cinema.
Yeah, and you and I loved Materialists.
I love Materialists.
I also love like because it felt like an old school kind of romantic drama, that vibe of being like really serious or like not super funny and rom-com-y. But like a rom-com has to feel like that, and we're just not getting them in cinemas and we're barely getting them on streaming at this point.
There's a lot on you at the moment, Leighton Meester and Jared Padalecki, to save the rom-com genre.
Yeah.
No offense. We also meant no pressure on that. Also hilarious if Netflix comes out after a record and be like, we're not doing this.
Like, we're not doing this. But that would be okay, because literally every day at the moment when I open my eyes, there is another book to screen rom-com adaptation, and they're all following your little formula that you've laid out.
Yes,
it's very exciting. We will definitely be getting It Happened One Summer, which is based on a Tessa Bailey book, and it's like Schitt's Creek / Smut. I don't know.
Okay,
but it's got Nina Dobrev from The Vampire Diaries, and it's got Tyler Hoechlin from Teen Wolf. So they are following the Laura Brodnick
and
Superman. Yeah. Oh, you got to mention Superman. But I think we've nailed it here. This is the way forward.
Watch this space. We'll let you know any other rumors regarding rom-coms. The rumor that no one cares about that we're here to spread.
That I'd like to spread. Stay tuned.
Okay, well, speaking of nostalgia and drama and even Gossip Girl, I'm going to draw a straight line from Leighton Meester to Blake Lively, because Blake Lively has posted a carousel of images on her Instagram account this week that has garnered a lot of headlines. And it's a collection of photos from behind the scenes of Gossip Girl, mainly from the first year of production. So it's a lot of Blake with the cast and crew. There's a photo from the very famous, the 100th anniversary, where she did the Marilyn Monroe number. number. There's photos of her shooting the Paris scenes with the crew. There's lots of behind the scenes moments of her with like Chase Crawford and Ed Westwick. Her and Ed are doing at one stage like a pose together in matching white shorts.
Yeah.
She and Chase are in a jumping castle with balloons. I don't remember that episode. She's posted the prom photo with Penn Badgley when she's in the iconic gold dress.
Yeah.
And that's when they were dating at the time.
And she's posted a photo from her own 21st birthday.
Yes.
Yeah.
On like with all the set
carousel.
people, right?
Yeah.
There's photos of her hugging Leighton Meester, and there's also a lot of photos of Michelle Trachtenberg, which is really moving because she did pass away this year. But a lot of them just feel like a collection of crazy images of, you know, like when, I don't know if you did this, but like when I was in my early 20s, like going out with my friends and stuff, and then the next day you would just post like 50 photos to Instagram of like every single blurry, crazy moment of the night. And a lot of it is just you and your friends pulling faces. Yeah. It's got that energy.
Yeah, like the energy of like when you're moving house and you like go through all the photos to see what to keep and get rid of, and you send them to all your mates. It's like that, but she posted them on her Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. It's very, very uncurated behind the scenes of Gossip Girl, which we love. And then the caption explains the huge photo dump of images where she said, "The summer Gossip Girl turned 18." Because Gossip Girl is 18 years old.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
And yet I am only 20.
And I'm just a babe.
Yeah. It said, and then she goes on to write underneath that, "This show was my college. It was my education, my social life, my hard work, my late nights and early mornings, my teacher. New York City and Silver Cup Studios, and sometimes Paris, were my campus for 6 years. So many memories. What a decade." There's full stop, so I think that's how she wants us to say it. Then there's a little love heart, and she says, "What a university." My initial thought to this was I actually thought it was quite heartwarming because I love Gossip Girl. I think it's a great show. I've watched it many, many, many times.
And she put the Young Kids song as like the soundtrack to the post.
Yeah, exactly, which I also thought was like crazy nostalgic. And I also just thought it was really lovely how all these celebrities, because Adam Brody's the same we were talking about recently, all these celebrities are at a point now where they're far enough removed from these shows that made them so famous as young adults and that they all tried to sort of get away from, and they talked about not liking it. Because Blake Lively has never talked overly positive about Gossip Girl. Like, she doesn't say heaps of terrible things about it, and I don't think she had a bad time on set or anything like that, but she has talked about the fact, and the producers have confirmed this, that she didn't want to be Serena van der Woodsen. Her career in movies were taking off and she wanted to be a movie star, and the thought of locking herself in for 5 years on a TV show that you didn't know how popular it was going to be, but you could have been sort of, because of the contract, you could have just been locked into it for a long time. She didn't want to do, and it took a lot of convincing. And then when Gossip Girl was finishing, she tried to pick roles very different to that because she thought Gossip Girl made her look like a very bad actress. And whenever people said the character of Serena, and she'd say, well, it's a caricature. It's not really a character. It's just me kind of like playing the ideal of this person, but she's not a real person. And like very that side of it. So my first thought of seeing this carousel was like, this is really lovely and nostalgic, and it made me want to go back and watch Gossip Girl season 1 for the 50th time. But then the fallout from it has been crazy negative, right?
Yeah. So the discourse has been absolutely nuts since she posted this. So it has 1.7 million likes, but Blake obviously has comments turned off currently.
Yes.
So there's not a lot of comments on her post, but so that means that obviously everyone's taken their many, many feelings, bottled them up, and like gone over to TikTok to share them all. One theory that was kicking around about the reason that she's posted these, not because like God forbid it's the 18th anniversary and she just wanted to celebrate this thing that means something to her, but people were like, this means her and Ryan Reynolds are getting divorced.
I saw everyone saying that, and to that I say it's not very often these circumstances I can 100% say that something isn't true.
Yeah,
but I'm going to go out and allege and say I just don't think that's true. I just don't think
that's true. People were like, she's found these photos and she's like spiraling and wanting attention, and so like she's getting divorced. And so she found the photos in divorcing and moving home. First of all, I think Blake Lively has someone who can pack up her own home for her in the event that happens.
I don't think Blake Lively was going through old photo boxes and pulling out photos during her divorce, that she's moving those boxes from one mansion to another.
Yeah, no, people have really, really made a story here. So one was that they think that Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are donezo.
Yeah.
Yeah. What ones have you seen?
Yes, I've seen all the divorce ones. I've also seen that it's a bit of a desperate cry for help. This one, I don't think it's a desperate cry for help, but I do think there's something in, obviously she's had to be so careful about what she posts since the whole fallout from It Ends With Us, from the press tour of that movie where people just turned against her in such, like, it's like felt like the world turned against her and hated her. Then the story came out about her allegations toward Justin Baldoni, and then watching the back and forth and the court proceedings and everything that's been released since then. Some people have come to her side, but there's still a lot of people in the world who think she's absolutely pure evil.
Yeah.
And I think, not to sort of psychoanalyze Blake Lively yet, here we are. I do think there's a sense of, if it was me, that would be a sense of, hey, remember when you guys just loved the TV show I was on? True. Everyone thought I had great hair. And like, because people did love her for such a long time.
Yeah, they did.
And I mean, I don't know if she's a good person or not. I've never met the woman. But I do think it was posting from a time when things maybe seemed a bit simpler, because she was on a TV show that people loved, and people loved how she dressed, and they loved her character, and they loved when she did press tours, and they loved her outfits, and she was the queen of the Met Ball, and people loved her and Ryan Reynolds. They were like the ideal couple. And I think it was like a throwback to that time. But I also think I've seen a lot of people comment that they think it's her trying to like claw her way back into popularity, and it's her way of trying to claw her way back into the lives of her Gossip Girl co-stars, because there's this idea that they've all kind of turned against her and want to be away from her, which again, I don't see any kind of truth in, but it was interesting. She had a birthday a few months ago, and it was the first time she'd posted in a really long time, and she was just reposting everyone's birthday wishes. And a lot of it was her Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants co-stars, who she's very close with still, most notably Amber Tamberlin. Then it was a few other friends. But everyone was like, why does no one from Gossip Girl publicly acknowledge her in any way?
Yeah, I think that's interesting, because a big part of, I guess, the fallout last year from the It Ends With Us stuff, long before the lawsuits had happened, was people drudging up this idea that Blake Lively and Leighton Meester had a big feud on Gossip Girl. And people were pulling up old clips where like Blake might say a joke and it didn't land and people didn't laugh. But often Leighton would laugh in the clip, but people really started to spin this story that they had like actively hated each other. There'd been bullying involved, but to the point where like people had to go back and look at interviews they've given over the years. They've addressed this so many times, and they've essentially just said, we're co-workers and we're nothing more. But I kind of think that what she's done here is sort of what you're saying. She knows the anniversary is coming up. Every time the anniversary of one of these nostalgic shows comes up, like every publication in the world does a carousel and memes and videos going anniversary, and she knows that's going to happen and people are going to be talking about it. So maybe she kind of wanted to be like, I'm celebrating this and look how nice and friendly we all were, and there's no bad blood here, because she knows, like you said, that on her birthday, on these big events, when no one tags her in anything, when no one talks about her, it becomes this big awkward talking point. So maybe she just wanted to be seen to be like engaging and showing that like this was her university, as she says. Like she had fun here, but she might not be friends with these people anymore.
Yeah, I think that was the very clear subtext around it. And it again, in any other day, it would just be like, here are all these unseen behind the scenes photos of Gossip Girl. And I think, there's one of her and Leighton hugging, there's her and Chase hugging, and her and Ed. And it's all very, like, it does make it look like it was the loveliest experience in the world, which is a side that we don't really see from most of the Gossip Girl cast looking back on the show. But it's interesting how Leighton became such a big figure in the Justin Baldoni versus Blake Lively situation, because people were using, as you were saying, using clips from them from like 18 years ago and saying, look, Blake Lively's always been a bad person, where a lot of the clips of them just like having little back and forths on stage and laughing. And they've always said we were friendly, but we were just we were like friendly co-workers. We just didn't hang out together.
And they both addressed it at the time, where like Leighton compared them to like George Clooney and Brad Pitt. I was like, okay, Leighton, you two Gossip Girl stars are at that level. And I stand by that.
George Clooney and Brad Pitt hang out more than those two ever did though.
But she was kind of talking about like how she'd seen all these headlines about, actors like Natalie Portman and Scarlett Johansson on the set of The Other Boleyn Girl, and she compared them to that, being like, why do you guys always say women are feuding? Why do you never say the men are feuding? Like, it's crazy. But there was a time where there were reports that like Leighton's wardrobe budget was increased, and then Blake's having success in feature films, and it's causing all this tension on set. And Blake's publicist actually came out and said Blake and Leighton have never been best friends and never professed to be. Blake goes to work, does her job, and goes home. Like, they were releasing statements like that at the time.
That is a crazy statement to put out there, because it's not squashing any fires. If anything, it was heightening the fire.
But I also get it. You don't have to be best friends with your coworker.
Yeah, exactly.
But people expect.
I thought you were going to say look at us.
No, you're my best friend. I say it all the time.
I don't think that's true because the other day I asked you to come to an event with me and you said, don't you want to take a friend? And I really felt that in my bones.
Because I feel like I follow you everywhere.
Okay.
We're no Leighton and Blake.
I was going to say we're the Leighton and Blake of this office, apparently.
Start a rumor.
But the thing is, I also find it very reasonable and not at all scandalous that in the 6 years that show was on air, that there were feuds and issues behind the scenes, and that happens in a normal workplace. So why wouldn't it happen on a TV show where they're working like 15 hours a day and then you have all the fame thrown in and they're really young? Like, of course they would have had fights.
Of course there would have been
and that
people
just adds
who didn't
to
get on, and that's fine.
And that adds to, I think, the lore of the show, and I love that. But then this whole thing started with, she hasn't tagged anyone. No one's tagged her. Chase Crawford, you were saying he liked it.
Yes, so Chase Crawford liked it. Chase is like...
he's trying to be everyone's best friend.
Switzerland of Gossip Girl. Like, he's like, I'll give it a like. But she didn't tag anyone. I think she just knows if she does anything, like she's even posting this is like lighting a match and chucking it in.
Well, I just think like anyone also in the public eye except her sort of core group of friends, like her family, the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants Girls and Riot, anyone else is very hesitant to weigh in any way.
Yeah.
And I kind of understand. I mean, this has only just happened as we're recording, so I don't know the truth of it. But even today, there's a report that a man was arrested trying to get into Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's home because he was trying to serve Taylor Swift with legal papers.
He like trespassed on property at like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. or something.
I just picture him climbing into Travis Kelce's home where they're like reportedly living at the moment, and like the engagement flowers are all set up there, and he's like, and all the arbors are still there because those flowers cost millions of dollars, and he's having to climb over them trying to get to Taylor Swift. And she looks out the window where she's making her sourdough bread, and she sees a strange man in the backyard.
Scary.
And I'm only making this up. I don't know how it happened, but I'm just saying the report is today that he was arrested getting into the house, but to serve her legal papers allegedly is the story from Justin Baldoni's team, so that she has to testify in the Blake Lively Justin Baldoni case.
And that's already gone back and forth so many times with the judge being like, nope, she doesn't have to come, and they keep like, it is a circus to every extent of the word. This is a celebrity circus, and I think, you know, we all have our thoughts and opinions on it. We can talk about them till the end of time, but I think where Blake's come in here is like, as you said, a lot of celebs aren't willing to engage with her content at the moment. I don't think she was going to tag the cast and risk running headlines, even though they're already happening, going, no one liked her post, no one shared her post, no one commented on it. Don't they all hate her? But she also wanted to engage and be like, I love this show. Like, look at it. And yes, obviously, like, she wants to share something nice about herself, knowing that the bad headlines are still coming no matter what she does.
And to be honest, I just don't think there's anything she could have posted that on this day that would make people like or dislike her. I feel like everyone's picked a side. And I also don't think this means that anyone in the Gossip Girl cast has, like, we know she and Penn Badgley are like on quite good terms. They're both like married to other people with kids. Not that stops you from being like a petty person, but they
continued working together long after they'd broken up and spoke a lot about how they were fine.
And so everyone thinks that's kind of fine. Her and Leighton, I think people would love to see more of them together. I don't ever see that kind of happening, even though they're both in the industry, and they must, once Blake starts going back to those events, they must kind of cross over. But I think Leighton goes to more kind of like industry award stuff, and then Blake goes to a bit more of the fashiony stuff in New York, so maybe they haven't crossed over.
Yeah.
You know who the interesting thing is, who seems to be the most level-headed and at peace with the show? Is Taylor Momsen, who played Jenny Humphrey.
Yes.
And so Jenny, the character, obviously went off a bit off the rails towards the end of Gossip Girl, but that happened because Taylor in real life, the stories of her on set that she wanted to focus on her band. She didn't want to be on the show anymore. Apparently she would come in hours late. She wouldn't say her lines. The guest stars would complain about her and not want to work with her. The cast would not want to work with her. So they wrote her out of the show to release her.
Yeah.
And now she's an incredibly successful musician, and she has been walking a lot of red carpets lately talking about how much she appreciates the world of Gossip Girl. She appreciates the fans. She loves when people come up to her and say they love Gossip Girl, because she's like just very at peace and happy with it. And I'm like, out of all of them, Jenny Humphrey, the most kind of is in the best place with the show.
With a Gossip Girl mention. Yeah. Do you know what I love? When that happened, and I mean, she was young people do stupid shit, but when that happened, all the angles, all the hot takes were like, this girl's ruined her career.
Yeah.
She's ruined it. Cindy Lou Who from The Grinch. She's over. She's done. She's still in the band she left the show to be in.
The Pretty Reckless.
She's still doing the big black eyeliner. She still has the platinum hair.
I love that she's really committed to the look.
a decade later, still the exact same girl that she was, and the only one who seems genuinely happy to talk about Gossip Girl while also being at the VMAs nominated and being successful in her own right. So you know what? Good on you, Taylor Momsen.
Oh, we love that.
I love that girl.
The true star of Gossip Girl, Jenny Humphries.
Exactly. She was so real when she was like, I just want to go to fashion school. But like in real life, she wanted to go play music, and she did.
Well, I hope what everyone's taken away from this is that we just all need to go back and watch the OG Gossip Girl.
Yes.
Because
it's beautiful. It's weird. Those people are crazy. We were trying to explain it to one of the youths in the office because she's only seen The Summer I Turned Pretty. And I was like, no.
Oh, my God.
This show.
The kids today who are just watching The Summer I Turned Pretty, and that's the first like proper teen show they've watched. I'm like, you guys don't know.
They're like, what team were you on? I was like, it's impossible to say. It was a love hexagon. Who knows?
Yeah, you just like things happen that you guys can't even conceive of in our show. So I think that's the real takeaway.
Yeah.
Also, I'm sure Blake Lively is going to be carefully posting until next year because it's hard to think of it now, but the first official kind of court date for Blake Lively and Joseph Baldoni is still going to be early next year when things kick off. At the moment, they're still in depositions and evidence gathering and everything, so she has a long road ahead of her. But I'm just going to go and say that I appreciated her carousel.
I thought it was a lovely post.